All right, folks. Sunday, and as usual, let's look at what may move the market next week, especially as the last CPI data we had, just tanked the market again. Just looking at crypto world, the crypto world is like, under the weather right now, to say the least. I mean, Bitcoin just breached below 28,000, Ethereum below 1,500. These are levels we haven't seen in a while now, even in the midst of, recession fears, inflation fears, etc., etc. But looking at what next week, has in store, I think we might be set up for another huge volatility week, but especially maybe another flat week at the best scenarios we may have here, because the calendar is packed, just packed with indicators that are screaming inflation, inflation, and Fed. Look, Monday, starting with one of the most popular, FOMC member. This is the Federal Reserve, committee member, and he's Mr. Brenner. He will speak tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time. So I don't know if the market will react really well before this, because he might say something that will put even more pressure into the fears that people already have in terms of, hey, we might go for more than 50 basis point or 0.5% increase for the month of June and for the month of July, and maybe for the rest of the year, just because inflation is still very high. And then on Tuesday, we have core PPI, and we do have PPI for the month of May, and then we have, energy numbers. But PPI is also going to scream a lot of inflation news when it comes to the producer. Last week we had, CPI, Consumer Price Index. This is the producer price index. So if this dips a little bit, it will give some sort of relief, because it means maybe for the next coming reports from the consumer side of things, inflation will start, dropping a little bit. But hey, no surprise there, or not much surprise expected there. Now, on Wednesday, we have core retail sales, we have, export import price index, retail sales, retail inventories, business inventories, and then we have interest rate projection, and then we have the Federal Reserve a statement, and they have a press conference at 2:30. So a lot of things again here in terms of, hey, inflation news. So I think the market is going to be really, really cranky. Depending on what Mr. Brenner will have said, on June 13, that's Monday, and depending on how, retail sales will come, inventories will come, because the more inventories we have, depending on some items, it gives you an indication of, maybe where inflation might go. But I think inflation from goods may have peaked, just because people are now looking for experiences, and that's why, airfare travel, booking, in hotels are just literally up the chart right now. But we never know what this report will say for the month of a month. So if that doesn't spook the market, then anytime the Federal Reserve speaks, there's volatility. All right, so that's Wednesday, and then Thursday we have jobless claims. We have in building permits and housing starts. This is really from the real estate market side of things, and I don't think it's gonna have much impact. Maybe the jobless claims, but if the market is happy with the decision on interest rates here, I don't think there's gonna be much reaction to the jobless claims, except if we have something dramatic happening, like maybe huge numbers confirming that the market is strong again, and maybe again, like usually, the market may still contract a little bit, just because strong numbers on the job market usually for the Federal Reserve gives them more ammunition, more a baseline to be even more aggressive, right? And then again on Friday, Mr. Powell will speak to end the week, and anytime he speaks, the market is like, hey, what is this guy's saying? So and then on Saturday, it's kind of not usual, but Saturday you have Fed Water also speaking. But based on all of these, Fed meetings, Fed interest rates, the core PPI, retail sales, building permits, and everything, jobless claims, I don't think this have much impact whatsoever. But again, it depends on what he will say. So I will say weeks ahead doesn't look very, set up for a green week, just because the whole highlight is going to be again on inflation, inflation, inflation. Now, if you believe this is how you're going to need to prepare as maybe a day trader, maybe a swing trader, or maybe just an investor, right? So if you're trading stocks or crypto, if you want to short sell, this might be a good week to do so, just because there's going to be so much news coming that are maybe going to confirm that inflation has not peaked yet, or the Federal Reserve will be more aggressive. And I'm expecting the market to pull back based on those news if there are more negativity coming out of those. But if Jerome Powell says, for example, that hey, we're gonna stick to 50 basis points, then the market is gonna react to that. But I don't think we're gonna have a straight red or straight green week just because of the volatility, as I mentioned. So be really, really, really quick in entering your trades and getting out. That's at least what I'm going to do. Now, if you are an investor, from an investing standpoint, I'm not changing much. Maybe buying the dip based on some of my favorite stocks, based on the volatility we might have next week, just because as I mentioned on a video a couple of days ago, if you want to make sure your money is protected and will continue to grow till the moment inflation fears and recession fears are out of the picture for the market and the economy, you want to be exposed to companies that are going to be strong in still producing good earnings and proving that the company is still growing or returning money to shareholders. And one of those is energy, which I'm heavily invested right now. But you can also look at healthcare and potentially big dividend paying companies in the tech sector, like Apple, for example. So apart from those, I don't really see much you can see if it's not just staying the course. Because if in terms of depression, in terms of chaos, if you want to change your strategy in investing, maybe to begin with, that strategy was not the good one. So I'm still buying the dip. I'm still getting in my favorite companies, my long-term investment, my retirement investment with my DCA budget on a monthly basis. So until things change a lot, I don't think right now it's time to really change that strategy for me.